The second wave of the economic collapse is about to hit, according to some economists. Now, I think that it's more like one big awful wave, but some people are calling this a second wave or a new phase in the economic transition that's going from bad to worse. So let's go ahead and get into the news. We've got a lot of numbers and details to discuss. It is March 1st. Thank you for coming back to the channel. I did take a day off. I don't think I had a report out on Sunday. Maybe not Saturday either. I'd have to look back. But anyways, thanks for coming back to the channel. It's been a busy weekend for me, doing a lot of family stuff. But what an insane time to be alive, as I think a lot of us that are paying attention to this are kind of on pins and needles, seeing what the next shoe to drop is going to be. Now we see bankruptcies are increasing. We're going to get into that more in a later report. We've got companies doing layoffs, companies like Best Buy. We're going to talk about that. The jobless numbers continue to be just awful. But a lot of this is hidden behind a facade or a front of fake, false economic numbers that 99% of the American people look at and believe. So it's only a small fraction of the population that's actually prepared for things to get much, much worse. And I'm thankful that a lot of you here on this channel continue to come back to try to keep updated on this, because the more of us that are aware and the more people that are prepared, then the better off, at least some of the population will be as this economy continues to deteriorate. That's going to really drag down the standard of living here in the United States. Now, not for everybody. You're going to see a better standard of living if you're prepared and if you're profiting from the situation. Even if you're not profiting, if you're prepared, you're still going to be out in front or better than probably, I'd guess, 99% of the population that really has no idea of what's ahead of us. All right, but I wanted to go over this op-ed. This is out of Newsweek, and the author of this is out of the University of Chicago. It's Thomas Phillipson. It's not so much about the person that we want to look at it, but what he's saying here. So let's take a look. Is the Biden stimulus bailout package going to be a job killer? Well, in our previous reports, we talked about how the minimum wage is likely going to drive a lot of other small businesses out of business. And we talked about how most businesses fail. It's around 9 out of 10 small businesses fail. If you make them pay $15 an hour, well, you're going to see a lot more businesses fail. Now, the mega corporations, they'll probably get by just fine, and you're going to see a bigger wealth consolidation now to the top, and a lot of smaller mom and pop small businesses will get wiped out to even a larger degree than we've seen so far. Right now, how it's being described here as a unprecedented number of incentives to de-stimulate labor markets and reduce job growth. We've seen a lot of that already. Could it get much worse? Absolutely. When you have lawmakers that have no idea what they're doing, trying to quote-unquote fix things, things can get a lot worse really, really quickly. And it's broken down in this article that there's 5 parts of this bill that raise major concerns about reducing job growth. The first is the minimum wage increase. We've talked about that a lot recently. Those of us that know how business works, we know that this could be very damaging to a lot of small businesses that don't have these huge profit margins. And even certain locations with big corporations, big companies, can also be affected. We've already seen that here in California with Kroger. We reported on that a few weeks ago. All right, they're also saying here that extending unemployment insurance with the extra $400 a week would be damaging to job growth. And we've always laid this out as a possibility, but they're saying here in this article too that they agree that this is an incentive to not work, right? When you're making more in unemployment, why would you want to go get a job even at minimum wage? Even if they raise minimum wage to $15 an hour, it's much more attractive to not do anything and make $400 a week. All right, and this $400 a week is an add-on, so you're going to be making more than $400 a week. You're going to be getting the basic unemployment amount, which depends on how much you were making before you got laid off or before you lost your job. You're going to get your basic unemployment plus an extra $400 a week on top of that. Okay, so let's just look at the extra amount, which is $400, not even counting the underlying basic unemployment that these people will be getting. $400 a week is an average of about $10 an hour, right? $400 a week, an average of about $10 an hour. So you're going to want to sit home and do nothing and make at least $10 an hour. And I say at least because you're still going to get more than that. This is just looking at the extra $400 that you get on top of the basic benefits. So are you going to want to go work for minimum wage? Let's say it's $12 an hour or $15 an hour, or make at least $10 an hour by not working, right? So this incentivizes people not to work. I mean, I think that makes sense, and I often don't agree with a lot of the mainstream economists, but this professor out of the University of Chicago, I actually do agree with what he's saying here. Right? So this quote-unquote assistance or help that the lawmakers are trying to put forth will just cause more damage. I mean, look how much damage the lawmakers and the quote-unquote experts have caused so far, right? The central bankers, they're supposed to be the experts, but yet they're steering the economy off of a cliff. It may make it look better for a while with the bubble economy, right? Because they pointed all these rising prices and they pointed the housing market and the stock market as economic growth, but we really know it's just a bubble being inflated by debt and lending and spending. And here's how it's laid out right here. The extra unemployment benefits, well, these businesses are going to be on the hook for a part of that. All right, here's another part of it. This bill would increase family and sick benefits. These are well intended, right? They sound good, but there's a lot of evidence that points to that this is going to have more negative employment effects. And it's likely going to be more that these companies, and many times small businesses, are going to be responsible for. So small businesses were already getting obliterated. Just wait, 2021 is going to be much, much worse. Unless we see a miracle or a complete reshaping or complete transformation of the monetary system or financial system, this economy is going to continue to crumble and get much, much worse. More people on unemployment, they can keep on enhancing or giving out more unemployment benefits, but at some point when you have people still getting money and spending money and less production, inflation's going to finally break the backs of most Americans. Now, it's already breaking the back of a lot of Americans. When it gets to the tipping point, that's when you see prices rise so rapidly, then you see a large surge in bankruptcies. And we're already to see an uptick in bankruptcies. We're already beginning to see that. Right? But at some point, there's a noticeable turning point. Now, those of us that have been paying extra close attention, we've already seen this economy turning. But like we said earlier, it's been hidden behind a facade of fake numbers and excuses, right? What's the big excuse? Oh, the shutdowns because of the illness. What have we heard, right, out of the mainstream business news? Everything was fine before the shutdown. It's all about the shutdown. There were no problems, right, until the shutdowns affected the economy and caused all these businesses to go out of business. Well, it was coming, but with this happening now, it's an excuse, and you have the fake number facade covering it up. And anyone that's actually paying attention to this, that's not actually concerned about what's happening, they must be really, really well prepared. So even as well prepared as I think I am, usually when something does happen, when the hard times really hit, no one is ever as prepared as they thought they were before the problems came. Right? I'm sure a lot of people that were in Texas that lost their power, they thought they were well prepared. And I'm sure a lot of them thought it would never even happen to them, right? And the millions of people that can't pay their rent, that are on the verge of getting evicted, I'm sure a lot of them never thought that they would be in the situation where they would be losing the roof over their head, right? No one ever wants to think about worst case scenarios. But in order to prepare, you have to think about worst case scenarios. That's the definition of preparing. You're preparing for the worst. You've heard the saying, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. But a lot of times if you prepare for the worst, you're called being negative or a doom and gloomer. You're called a fear monger or worry wart. Right? I've been called all of those, even by my own family. All right, but let's take a look at some other news. Let's talk about Best Buy. So even companies that seem to be surviving and thriving during these times are laying off people. Now, Best Buy is interesting because they're giving out bonuses at the same time as they're announcing layoffs. So with the move to online sales, where so many more people are buying online instead of shopping in the stores, they are laying off staff. So they need more staff at the warehouses and the shipping departments for the online e-commerce, but less people in the physical stores. the economy is supposed to be opening back up, and we're still seeing layoffs. We're still seeing surging jobless claims. Right? Look at last week again. CNBC, they're saying the jobless claims dropped, but another week, another bad number: 730,000 new jobless filings. Look at before the shutdown, and look at now. We are nowhere near a recovery. Just because it drops from the previous week, it's not good news. Stay well and get yourself ready, because 2021, according to what I can see, it's going to be very, very ugly, probably very dangerous. Crime's increasing, poverty's increasing. I think it's going to get very, very bad. Even worse. I wish I had better news for you, but let me know what you think on this one. These numbers, the layoffs, the stimulus package could do more damage. Inflation is going to continue to ramp up. Look at oil, look at gas, look at energy costs, insurance, rent, fees, taxes, you name it. It's all going up, and more people are dependent on handouts. Pretty scary, pretty dire if you ask me, but hope you're doing well at this time. Thank you for watching this channel. Stay well, stay safe, stay prepared. Bye for now, everybody. Peace.